view of life is very different from the people of my society. Religion has altered the natural thought process and theory given by God. Most of the hidden knowledge is already known. We have the equivalent of an eternal hard drive containing all the laws of nature. In addition, we have an internal guidance system to help guide us through life. In today's society, we call it our first mind. In my theory, the same soul you have now is the same soul you've always had. It's just been reincarnated into different bodies. In stating that, your soul has seen life play out 1,000,000 times, giving it an infinite wisdom. The problem is people don't listen to their soul until it's too late. The phrase, "I should have listened to my first mind," is a world-known phrase. The irony is the use of the term first mind. First mind simply means your soul. What they mean to say is, "I should have listened to my soul." Your soul lives in your brain. That's why the term is called first mind. It's the first and main control system in your mind. Throughout time, things happen that shape our character, but we never stray completely from our original self. Your character is contained in the other or outer levels of your subconscious. Let's inspect this word subconscious. If your character is in your subconscious, then what is it sub to? Sub is a prefix meaning in place of. In place of what? My philosophy is, your soul is your conscience. It is the core of your everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, your habits, your gender, your likes, your dislikes. I could go on forever, but I think you get the point. Now, your character is shaped by the world around you. Many different things contribute to your character. A person's soul determines how their surroundings will affect one's character. For example, say you're a person that steals. If you have a strong soul, it will prevent you from going too far or stealing from a loved one. If you have a weak or dark soul, you will have no boundaries and you will steal from whoever, whenever. By my experiences, I've learned to look people in the eye when discussing serious matters, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. A person can keep a straight face and lie, but the eyes will always tell. Simple things like poor eye contact or wandering eyes. Another is widening of the eyes, because that implies that the person is trying to convince you rather than letting their natural body language do the convincing. A person with good character will have a strong soul that will prevent them from lying to a loved one without feeling any guilt or shame. Actually, I feel everyone should review their lives and acknowledge the wrong they do without guilt or shame. Everyone does wrong, so everyone does things they are ashamed of and things they are not ashamed of. The questionable actions are the ones that negatively affect other people. Anything you do that affects you is between you and God. Anything you do that negatively affects another person should be thoroughly reviewed. The reason why is whatever you do that affects another person, rather positive or negative, is directly connected to your karma. Negative deeds bring negative karma. Positive deeds bring positive karma. I want to go back to the conscience and subconscious, or the soul and the character. Everyone has a main character and a main sub-character, or should I say main sub-characters. Ever notice how people tend to act different around different people and surroundings? Those are called sub-characters. When a person says you're acting out of your character, you're really just in the sub-character that was brought about, or should I say brought on, by your surroundings. People, places, and things can alter your mood. The secret is to not let them alter your mood negatively. Anytime something alters your mood negatively, that means you've lost control of your emotions. And no matter the situation, it's never good to lose control of your emotions. Now, letting go of your emotions is a totally different thing. Being able to let go of your emotions is one of the biggest forms of emotional control. It's basically saying, regardless of my outside influences, I'm going with what I think is right, even though sometimes it's the wrong decision. To be able to make such an action takes courage. I don't believe in fully letting go for the fact it makes you extra vulnerable. Vulnerability makes you a target for those with dark souls. Very rarely does vulnerability attract the kind-hearted, but it does happen. In fact, a vulnerable person can make the best spouse because if you can unbreak their heart or fix whatever's wrong, they will love you forever. Even if the person that unbreaks their heart is the worstest person or type of person for them. The ways of life have to be learned, not adapted to. If you simply adapt to life's many trials, you'll find yourself not knowing yourself. You will have adapted so many times that you've forgotten what you adapted from, meaning you'll forget who you used to be before you started adapting. When you learn the rules of life, you don't have to adapt. You simply learn the rules of the game and act accordingly without compromising who you are inside. Let's say you're in a confrontation. Let's say you're in a confrontation with someone who's really angry. To adapt would mean to become angry with the person that became angry with you. See, to adapt is to mimic your surroundings or build a defense toward your surroundings. So when you adapt, you unconsciously react without the process of thought, causing you to become something you didn't intend on becoming. Not saying that you'll be opposed to the change. When whatever bear adapted to become the polar bear, it was critical that those adaptations were made to survive in the Arctic. Us as humans, we adapt in different ways. Like in the example of the confrontation with an angry person, to respond accordingly would be to find out why the person is angry before becoming angry yourself. Most of the time, people do things without knowing. In saying that, it's very possible that an action you committed caused the anger that person is having. Simply acknowledging the cause of the person's anger can sometimes de-escalate the situation depending on the offense. What if that long tunnel with the light at the end of the road is actually the birth canal? Think about this for a minute. That would mean the notion of heaven and hell would change. Actually, everything would change. The first question would be, do we have a choice on if we remain in the spiritual world or go back to earth? Then the next question is, do the actions of our past life affect our new life? In my theory, we would come back as humans, but what if we didn't? What if we could come back as animals or even beings on another planet? I know I've had dreams to where the place I'm at wasn't Earth. I did an experiment where every baby I crossed paths with, I asked them if they remembered their past life. I swear every baby I asked that question gave me a look back like, finally, someone understands. A lot of them even began to speak baby gibberish, but imagine you have a new body, you know exactly what you want to say, but you can't control your mouth well enough to say it. that would be the most frustrating thing in the world. To make it even worse, the more you try to talk, the more people say how cute you are. What about the theory of past relatives looking down on us? Are they really looking down on us or not? Maybe we do get a choice. Maybe if we don't go to the light, we remain in the spirit world until we're ready to be assigned to a new body. If so, that would explain people seeing past relatives and being able to connect with them through medium. That brings up the theory of heaven and hell. It would bring me pleasure to know that evil people paid for their dirty deeds in some way. In saying that, the theory of paying for your current actions in your next life would sound perfect. Imagine if that evil corporate giant came back as a poor ghetto kid. Imagine if that rapist came back as a child of a molester. What if that ugly fat person with a heart of gold came back as a rich, attractive business mogul? Let's tone it down. What if that man that left his children came back as a fatherless child? If this theory were to be true, would people pay more attention to their actions, or would they say, I'll worry about that in my next life? Either way, I know the suicide rate would skyrocket with people hitting the reset button trying to escape their hell. But what if you can't escape, and if you kill yourself, you're sent back to an even worse life than before? Hopefully God is a forgiving God, and He'll rate you on the life you live, no matter the length. That would also explain miscarriages, stillbirth, blighted ovums, and other forms of death before life. Basically, a spirit changed their mind and chose not to inhabit the body. I'm going to end this off with a question, and the next time I talk to you, I'll begin with the answer to this question in my philosophy. The question is, if your eyes are the window to your soul, do you see your soul when you look in the mirror? I dare you to test yourself. Do something without looking in the mirror, then do the same thing while looking in the mirror, and see if you do them the same way, or if looking in the mirror causes you to react differently.
This has been My Philosophy, Volume 1.